Hey guys, how's it going? Today we're just going to be working on a enemy AI script. It's very basic, but it can be built up to your own needs. Now, I already have a scene open. I've created an enemy, a player, a train, and I've just added a texture just so we can get started right in here. So, first, I'm just going to start right off by creating the C# script. Let's call it enemy AI, and we'll open that up in whatever editor we're using. I'm using Visual Studio, but you can use MonoDevelop or whatever you have connected to Unity 3D. So it'll take this a second to open up, but in the script we're about to write, it's so basic that really it functions, but to use it in a game or whatever you're going to use it in, you're going to want to add more. Now, I'll give you a couple ideas of what you can add, but basically what we're going to do is we're going to use a nav mesh in the navigation system built into Unity to have the enemy AI automatically follow you whatever you set your check rate to. So you'll see what I'm talking about in just a minute. Let's get started. Alright, so we'll want to know what our player's transform is. So let's already declare a transform for the player. So let's call that player transform. Transform, I can't type. There we go. Alright, and we'll want a nav mesh. So we'll just say Unity Engine .ai nav mesh agent, not nav mesh agent. That's hard to say fast. Alright, let's call it my nav mesh. Okay, and right here we can kind of set and play around with the check rate. So we'll say public float, let's go check rate, and I'm not too sure what to set this off right away, so we're just going to go 0.01 float and try that. Now we'll also need a next check, so we'll call that next check. You'll see what these are used for in less than a minute here. We're just kind of declaring them to start off with. So those are basics, what we need. We can take a look at other stuff after. So if we go down to start, we can start off by saying if, and we just want to check if the player is active in the hierarchy. So we can say game object dot, we'll use the find game object with tag, and we'll tag our player as player so we know if it's active in the hierarchy. Alright, so let's say player dot active in hierarchy and player transform, because we want to update our player transform. That's why we want to grab this, and that'll be equal to our game object. We'll just copy, we want to find it again in the hierarchy, so there we go. Dot transform. Alright, now we want to initialize the nav mesh agent that we declared as we started this. So we'll say my nav mesh equals game object. This is where we'll attach this script right to the enemy. So we can just say game object dot get component Unity Engine dot AI dot nav mesh agent, and that should initialize it. Alright, so we'll create one function. It doesn't have to return anything. We'll just call it follow player. You can call it whatever you would like, but just for simplicity's sake, this is what it's going to do. It's going to follow the player. Now, this is going to be very basic. All we want to do is point the nav mesh agent in the direction of our player transform. So we can say my nav mesh, and we want to set that transform to look at our player transform. And that is all we have to do in follow player. Now, you can easily complicate things by adding a check for distance to change the speed of your enemy. You know, the closer it gets, the faster it gets, running towards your enemy. So if you had animations, you could have walking when it's far away or just roaming around. Or like as it gets closer, you could have it speed up and start running to cycle the animations. That's just one way of kind of not complicating, but adding more function to the script. So in update here, we'll want to use our check rate and next check. So we'll just do time.time. We'll say if that's greater than next check, then next check will be equal to time.time plus the check rate. And that should be all we need. And then within that, we'll want to call I don't even know what I said there. Call follow player. And that should be it for the basic Unity enemy AI script. So let's go back over into Unity to make sure there's no errors. Okay, there are no errors. So let's start off player and set it to tag as player. The enemy, I will attach the enemy AI script to it. So we can play around with the check rate. I'm not too sure what would be better, but we'll see the function right away. One thing you'll need to do with the terrain is if you already have it built out, you'll have static objects and not static objects. Either way, you'll want to go to Window, Navigation, and you'll want to bake the navigation. This is what the enemy AI will use to find its way around different objects on the terrain. If you have houses, trees, it will navigate around those. Because this is just one flat terrain, it's just all one easy nav mesh the enemy can follow. So let's just start this scene and see if the enemy can follow us. Alright, so we already have... So on the enemy, what I forgot to do is I forgot to attach a nav mesh agent. So I just add component, nav mesh agent. Now on this you can set the agent size, radius, height, and all that. So on the enemy I have a capsule collider. You can see it. It's just so we can see as he runs towards us. You'd probably have a model, like a 3D model, in place of that. So you can set the different heights and radius, whatever will work. It's used to navigate around the scene, as I said. And this is the speed that you can set, the initial one, acceleration, stopping distance, all that fun stuff. I'll let you play around with that, but as for now, we're just going to add it and see if it works. Play, and... Alright, so he's going really slowly. I don't know if you can see it. So we'll want to increase the speed of the nav mesh agent, but if and well, that didn't help hitting him. Okay, let's increase the speed and see what it does. Let's just go maybe 12.5. Bring that up a notch. Play. And where is he? So it looks like he's going in the opposite direction. So we'll want to correct that. Sorry about that, guys. Alright, so I found out the problem with this. I just accidentally forgot to include one line. All we want to do is set in follow player the myNavMesh.destination equal to the player transform.position. And after that, we can go back to Unity and just click play. And he should follow. We have the speed set very high. But if you see if we're running... Now this is where the check rate comes in. You can see how if we move, he still goes a certain way for a little bit. And that's because the check rate's at 0.01. If we lower that, still above 0, but lower that, then he'll go for a more instantaneous turn. Although, as you can see, but looking at the nav mesh agent on the side, we have auto braking turned on. And acceleration, so he's got to decelerate before he can turn, so that also has to be taken into account. You can include stopping distance, so if we move stopping distance, it'll stop the little glitch that we have with him going right in us. So if we move again, he should stop 2 away. Still not going to be enough to avoid our collider. So let's just set stopping distance. Where is it? There we go. To 6, and hopefully we'll see. So if I go this far, he'll follow. Acceleration's a bit too much, but you can see he stopped 6 units away. Now the problem is the deceleration with all that speed. That's what's going to keep him coming into our collider. But either way, it's functional. You can build upon it if you would like, but that is our script. You can add animation, so you can include animation controller, play certain animations at certain speeds when it's walking, and that kind of stuff. So I hope that helped. Leave a comment below and have yourself a good one. Stay tuned for the next video.